Today's Jenny has slightly different perspective on things. I'm a lot more appreciative of everything that I have back home and a lot more driven to working in this field in the future. I'd love to work with community engagement, sustainable development, particularly in developing nations. And that's what Peru's challenge really is about. It's working with everyone in the community, getting everyone on board to help the community develop a sustainable future, improve the future of the children.
It's opened my eyes to a different part of the world, and it's shown me that people are generous and so welcoming and still so very humble. And I think that has really inspired me, opened my eyes a bit more to what I could do to make a little difference in the world.
There's always that reminder that you'd have in the back of your mind that there's always people out there that are worse off and things can be done to help them. I think we have it quite easy at home compared to the community that we're working with now and just a developing country overall. It's always going to be a reminder because I've seen it firsthand. And it's not something that you should just put it back in the back of your mind and forget about. You should always try and actively see if you can lend a hand here or there.
Just be happy because everyone here has just such amazing spirits and they're always so happy and patient and joyous and smiling and laughing, and I think that's something that we all need to do more on a regular basis.
So it's kind of impossible, I think, for us to ever not reach our goals because we're all working together. Such like an intricate type of system here. Yeah, it's just like we feel unbreakable. Yeah, I feel like we could go for like another year or so and we'd still be going sweet.
One of the principal reasons that I wanted to do Peru's Challenge was because a lot of things that I've seen growing in Lima in the 80s, which was a very tough time in Peru. It was in my mind and one day I'm going to do something. So when I have the chance and opportunity to come back to Peru, that's one of my dreams.
As Sylvie kind of described it, it's helping the community and giving back in addition to seeing how beautiful this part of the world is.
We are very proud of what's happening in Pumamarca. The result after 5 years and at the time that we was planning to do a lot of things happening, a lot of things change in that community. And we have seen that the community start getting much better.
Sylvie took us to one community where they'd already done a lot of work and you could just see the benefits. So they'd been there for 5.5 years and now the village is sustainable, producing flowers with a guinea pig industry and also with irrigation to the fields. And this is all in addition to the school, which has now won all these prizes and is just doing so well for itself.
The community obviously was abandoned for so long. Nobody knows much about Pumamarca because even getting there it was very hard. But after all of these little things and all of these little achievements, the community feels so proud of the community.
With further education, we give account.
And then we went to the community where we'll be working and you could see the contrast. And you could also see the villagers being so excited to receive us, and they sprinkled confetti on our heads and they really made us feel welcome in the village. They do work with the program very closely. Sustainability, that's what the program's all about.
Just to be in the community, to see the people, like they're all just so friendly and welcoming, and the way they live their life, it's really inspiring. When we went into the school that we're going to be working in, like when they gave us a little ceremony and came in, they were all giving us hugs and stuff, it was just so touching, and honestly it was the most privileged feeling just to be a part of something like this.
The fact that we're building over there, I think that'll be great. It'll be learning new skills.
Definitely.
Something that we don't really get to do at uni. There's no Hammer 101 unit.
Construction is one of the most important parts of the project of Peru's Challenge, because with construction you're gonna be able to show the community what the reasons that you're here for. Obviously, to see something that is start and get constructed and finish it, obviously the community can see that you're not telling stories to them, actually you are doing it. And that's for us is one of the most important things. It's a bit of a challenge, because sometimes volunteers come here without knowing anything.
Definitely learnt some new skills. So last week we focused on shredding the bamboo for the roof, and then I also went up onto the ceiling and helped them out with the hammering and the nailing of the bamboo for the insulation for the ceiling. I learnt to do that, and I didn't know I could do that, so that was pretty cool.
It's not as a very a tough thing and you have to do, and it's just more about enjoying the construction for something that is going to be a benefit for the community.
The teaching initially was quite a challenge. I've done a little bit of teaching work previously, but having to plan lessons and work with other people in the classroom rather than just being a teacher's aide has been a challenge in some ways.
The first day that I went on teaching was a bit spontaneous, but we went in there and we did some different activities to teach the kids a bit of English and just to see how much English they knew.
Well, teaching is one of the most important part of the program too. For us, education is the base of everything, and one of the reasons that we decided to start Peru Challenge was just to give education to the kids. And if you don't have a good education, nothing is going to change. So we've been working hard, to try to give the kids the best kind of education. We have been hiring some good teachers, just to try to give the same level of education that the kids can receive in the city.
I was teaching kindergarten.
Okay, and now they've been mixed up a little bit, haven't they?
Yeah, so that's kindergarten year 1. Doing high school teaching, I keep thinking about using mind maps and all these type of things which you use for year 7 students. I keep thinking, first one's going to can't speak language, and secondly, the kindergarten, they probably can't speak much of their own language at that point in time.
Yeah. So. Having the volunteers, combining with the curricular program is obviously for us also very important because it gives the chance to the kids to learn things completely different from the volunteers can bring to the classroom. So just to ask where Europe is or where Australia is, or what type of animals they have in your country. Kids are very advanced now with this type of things, and 90% of the kids now are able to go to secondary.
The minute I looked out the plane and I saw the view, which is probably, I don't know, I haven't been around the world, but I think it's the most spectacular view you'll ever see. It's just, ever since then, I've just had this high, I've been on this high, and I think everyone is the same.
I've done quite a bit of reading about the history of thinkers previously, but seeing it just reconfirmed in my mind how incredible the Incan civilization was. When we went to the temples, there were water canals and incredibly sophisticated irrigation systems, or just the stonework with perfectly matched up stones where you can't slip a piece of paper through them. Things like that, it's just not appreciated enough around the world.
I had a moment actually. We were in Sacsayhuaman ruins, the temple to the king, the largest temple in the city tour of Cusco ruins. There's a central stadium, and I was standing sort of in the centre of the grass, and I just felt really in the right place, I guess is the best way of putting that. And it was really special to just have that moment and be in awe of everything that we were able to be experiencing together on this trip.
The thing that I'm the most worried about is getting sick.
Getting ill. I don't want to get ill. That's the main thing.
Okay, I got sick and I got sick and I got sick and then I worked one day. That's about it.
I haven't been very well the past 2 days, but I'm in good spirits, so.
Just having the team around, it all helps. And everyone's quite positive here.
The strength of character to come back to work so quickly, to come back to the group and be positive about that experience.
But it wasn't just myself who got sick, it turns out it was everyone. And so we all went through much the same. it was a good environment to catch a bug, if there was ever a good environment.
I think also it helped that so many of us came over in a group. That made it a little bit easier, but I think just being here in the house, everyone's just getting along so well. It's really nice when you can see people like when they're feeling okay and they're coming out of their shells, and yeah, everyone's getting along, so.
It's becoming like one big family.
Hey, you stole my line! I was just about to say that.
You want to say it again?
And we're just becoming one big happy family.
I think we've overstayed our welcome.
Cut to commercial, cut to commercial, cut to commercial.
At the beginning, when we started working in the communities, we find out that hygiene in the communities was one of the biggest problems and one of the biggest issues, because everything that the kids was going through, you know, especially with health, it was not good. And so we started doing that just to show and teach the kids that this is a very important part of their life. And going through all of these routine with the volunteers, obviously little by little become a routine to them, and they understand what all of that means. And if they understand that, when they get older, the family are gonna do the same, and it's just gonna become like a change, you know, and as a routine, brushing the teeth. The first time when we start talking about bacteria and viruses and all of these type of things, the man couldn't believe it. So we get a microscope, we put a bit of water in there with the doctor, and when the mom was just looking through it to the microscope and see all of these microbacteria in the water, they understood what they was going, what they were drinking, and all of these things, you know.
This is us cutting up the fruits, ready for the children morning tea.
So much pressure, man!
Kids need their food and nutrients. Some fruit. Hey,
But at least having all of these little things that they're able to do, things can change.
And remember face? Yeah, that's it.
It feels like after the 2.5 week point that we've just suddenly clicked and everything is just flowing really well. So we're plastering, we're getting to know the kids really well, and they're starting to call us like amigo, and everyone knows each other's names, and that's something that the teacher says was really nice.
The behavior of the kids and the way how they able to communicate to you is completely different than other kids in other communities, no? So you can see especially the respect that they have for you and for the amigos. You know, sometimes in other communities, when you're walking around and I see a foreigner, they call gringo, but now all of the community are call you amigo, which is a big change for a community for that to happen. And it happens in Pumamarca, and it happens in the other community that we've been working in Pisac, in Chinchero, in Pumamarca, now in Kiawata, no? Which is obviously is very special.
That's the shift in their attitude and their relationship to us. So they see what we're doing, they see that we're committed to them and helping them. So now they want to work with us, which makes things a lot easier.
For them just to see that, you know, that the gringos are not only coming here just to you know, just to explore or try to take something from us, you know, actually they're coming here to be a friend, to share some moments together, you know.
Being someone that's only taught in high schools and only done a brief amount of work in primary, I'd definitely say, yeah, there's been a bit of a difference. I've just been teaching primary school, which I find that very difficult to begin with. My Spanish is okay, it's not very brilliant, so generally speaking there's a lot of sign language, and kindergarten students just don't understand sign language. So when you point to them and ask them to please move over there because they're distracting, they'll follow your hand and they won't follow the actual movement that you want them to physically move and pull them, and you don't actually want to pick them up and put them there, but you sort of do. And now recently teaching at Punamarca, where I'm teaching Year 7 group, that's actually changed my attitude about teaching quite a bit here. Like all of a sudden I'm looking forward to kind of planning lessons. Got an opportunity to actually know the kids' names and see what they like outside. And they also kind of have that, since they're more mature, they're about grade 7, about 12 years older, so you can kind of joke around with them, have a bit of fun, and that's been really cool.
We have seen a big change in the community. For us, it happens with time. Kiawata is still a lot ahead, but little by little we can see them getting there. and to see the kids, learning that from when they're little. Obviously, the new generation of kids are going to be the leaders of the communities, and having that essence from the beginning is very important for us.
So I started a teaching degree about 7 years ago, and ever since I've worked in childcare. So coming here, I was very excited to do teaching, and because it's obviously something I feel strongly about. But since being here, I realised, that's something I've done a lot of, and I'm going to do a lot more of. And I really just want to focus on construction because it's just such an amazing experience. Like, even if you work in construction in Australia, you're not building a classroom for a village. It's been amazing. So I've actually tried to pass off my teaching responsibility so that I can spend more time in construction because I absolutely love it, and it's once in a lifetime opportunity.
Also this week we learned how to plaster, so that was a pretty cool new skill to learn as well.
Yeah, that's probably the tough one in construction, because you're not, sometimes it's not so much you come home physically exhausted, it's almost mentally, because you're trying to get this one technique which you see others get with ease, and then yourself, you'll be thinking, why can't I do it? And you think, I'm doing everything they're doing, and you start, thinking I was at the equipment or something like that. But
particularly the first couple of days when I was doing the plastering, I'd just see a whole bunch of plaster just slide to the ground, and I felt devastated. I felt like my heart was breaking.
Plastering's, first time you did it, you kind of get it on you, and you kind of like, you don't want it on you, you're kind of like, oh. But by the end, you just get covered in it, and it kind of just seems all fun and games after that.
It's very messy, you get all over yourself. I probably still have some in my hair.
Just been working with Mimo and a lot of the other guys from construction, just because you've got the opportunity to talk to them and see what they're like. And music, I guess, is one thing Mimo talked a lot about. I couldn't figure out what the Spanish word for what akadaka was. I was thinking, I was racking my brains, and all of a sudden he turns to me and goes, and I'm like, oh, AC/DC, akadaka.
Obviously, when they do the work, you can see that they do it with so much happiness, and they put everything to make sure that every little thing is going to go right, because it's for the community, which is make it more special.
I guess you see how much work they do and the way they don't stop. And I guess, there's that kind of joke they keep saying every time you do something, they say professional. They're like calling you a professional for everything you do if you do it right.
It's a relationship of few words, but it's enough words to really get your message across and try to get a joke. The most common joke is professional or no professional. It determines whether you're good or you're not good. So if you do a good effort, that's professional. If you do a bad effort or something goes wrong, no professional.
Sharing time with the volunteers and with the community it's a bit of everything, it's a bit of challenge, but the work is there, teaching them what to do, learning and being, having fun and learning a little bit of Quechua.
There's always a lot of roles to do. There's still a bit of plastering to go. There's always kind of doing this. I think cementing will be coming up soon. Everyone's got something to offer in construction. No one's really left out at the end of the day.
As a plan of sustainability, we decided to start a project that show the moms and show everybody that wants to come to talleres to learn something and a skill.
It was really wonderful to see the women in the community getting together and doing handicraft and things. Also generating an income that they can use to support their family and their kids later on as well. Lots of beautiful products, alpaca, llama wool. I just went nuts.
So at the beginning we have around 17 mothers. 17 mothers start learning, they wanted to learn, they wanted to have some different skills because they knew that they can do it. And then after that started producing and probably selling these products, and there was a bit of a thing there, because after the mom started making money, more probably money than the husband was making in a month, the husband realized, oh wow, you can do that in a couple of days a week, all right, this is good, So it was 3 o'clock in the afternoon, the husband's, looking at the watch and say, okay, it's your time to go to your talleres, and all of these things, in the mind start changing in the community.
The good thing is, like, when we wear that piece of clothing or item that we buy, we'll be thinking of, like, the mothers that made it.
first group of mom, with the extra money that they make through the year, they decide to go to Machu Picchu. So for the first time ever, a group of mom from a community went to Machu Picchu with the work that they did through talleres. And obviously for us that was pretty amazing.
I actually think engaging with the locals, playing soccer, that's
Really? Yeah,
that's something that I'm actually looking forward to. The soccer is like a world game, and I think we won't need to speak each other's language to know how to play and have a good game. So it's surprising at the same time. Having a look at the photos, you see just the hilly environment and that they're able to still enjoy soccer.
Connecting with local culture as well, that field was just awesome. Just having the mountains surround you, it was like a stadium, it's like a natural stadium. It's different to being a tourist. To being a tourist, yeah, you know, like that idea you're looking through, but this you kind of feel like you're a part of it.
Look, I like to think that we won, Chris. I'm pretty sure we won. Until altitude got to us after about 5 minutes. But yeah, no, that's definitely a highlight of the trip. And the teams, we didn't speak each other's language, and this is something I keep referring to, but we still enjoyed each other's abilities and also the time that we spent playing the game. And I think that's what I enjoyed most about it. Was that it was just great, and they're just so friendly, and just the atmosphere really topped it off.
We went on this fantastic tour of Pisac and just all the surrounds in Sacred Valley. Views of the mountains were peaking.
That's something else, isn't it? Because you're seeing kind of, I guess, come from Australia, very different history. Sometimes kind of similar with colonialism, but very different in terms of like what we have to look at. So looking at kind of just the geography of it. So, you know, climbing up all that way, very physically exhausting. I think on Monday a lot of us felt that.
I think my favourite part was like just walking down and seeing all the mountains and the views. Yeah, it was pretty amazing. And also hearing the history from Berta, our tour guide, who's seems very passionate about the Inca history, and hearing her like side of the stories is really good as well.
We say tambo, we don't say tam, we say tampu. With T-H-U maybe. Tampu means resting place, lodging place, relaxing place.
Love the history of everything Inca and everything ancient, and to see the ancient channels and everything and the really sophisticated agricultural systems. Nerd moment. Massive nerd moment.
And all the achievements they've done, especially without the use of cement, they've just gridlocked it in, and without the tools that we have. Especially, I guess, when you contrast Earth construction at the moment, how are they doing it? And they just seem like just pure patience. When you see those remains, it just leaves more questions.
Prayer for Life was born with the idea of giving them the opportunities to the families and to also to the young kids in the communities to go for further education, health, in case any families need a little bit of support with health, and also families that needs a little bit of support, for example, in building the houses, for example, if it is needed to, different aspects, no? So for us, Prayer for Life is, and it's been one of the most important things for us for Peru's Challenge. And we obviously for that, you know, we can see how the people can open the doors, but open their hearts.
I think most people, when they talk about that moment when you change, or when you have that realisation, or that moment you have in a travel experience, I think most people have been saying that's the house visit for them.
So a group of 5 of us, we went to this woman's house, and she's a single mother of 4, and she's just got this little dirt floor, red brick room.
They were cooking with wood in an enclosed environment. To begin their cooking, they'd have to go through a very smoky environment. not good for their lungs. And not only that, it was their warm place during the winter, which is just it's unfortunate, saddening to see that that's where they live, because it's cold and they need to live there and in those conditions.
And seeing all of the work that we have done and everything that they want for the community, they start opening the doors of the houses to us, and so we can be able to see the reality.
So it's all about perspective, I think. You know it's out there, but until you experience it, I think that's what really changes you and what you always remember. Because the house visit, I'll always remember that.
When you go into the houses and see a little bit into more of the reality, you know, it's something that you need to understand and understand the reasons why you are here for too. And for us, that's a very important part, obviously, the community. You have to be and become one of members of the community for that to happen.
We are very proud with the people. You know, when you meet the mothers from the community, you see maybe you meet them at the city and say, hey, amigo Nico, and say, oh, hey, how you going? You know, and they feel very friendly, and you feel how you explain, and happy, you know, proud, because they know you, and they feel like very confident with you, you know. We never know what's going on, what's gonna happen, but if we have a chance to do the same things, we will do it, you know. I will do it.
Even though they didn't have a lot and they were living in really, really tough conditions, they had a lot of hope for the future, which was something that really inspired me and everyone else who went on that visit.
It's not easy to come here and do this type of work and go through so many things through the community, things that happens into the community, but it's a challenge, you know, and challenge is full of, in life is full of challenges, you know, and coming here and try to do something positive for the community, and obviously for me, everybody, you know, is very special and important.
You've had a chance to work with Selby now.
Oh yeah. Look, I like to think Selby's had a chance to work with me.
It's been just really fantastic. He came today and kind of helped me with some of the work, and he's good. He offers a lot of advice which you can really take on board, and a lot of opportunity.
Enormous amount of respect for Sylvie. So he started the program with Jane when he was 21 years old, which is nearly my age. I feel by comparison I haven't done nearly as much with my life.
I was asking him about what his experience of teaching was, because he just seems to have a very natural rapport with the students, have a lot of respect for them, and he just said it's mostly just his experience, and he just seems to know what to do.
And he's just so incredibly devoted to the program. He builds these people around him, and he builds these networks so that they can all work together for this common goal.
Okay, so just follow me. Okay, what you're gonna do, guys, is gonna get a little bit small inside, okay, in the tunnel.
Just tonight we were talking about some of the things Peru's Challenge has done, and the teacher's salary, it's only $3,000 US a year, which is absolutely nothing by our standards. But the Peruvian government, they haven't stepped in and helped out even when the schools are up and running. So years later, after they've finished programs in other communities, Peru's Challenge is still giving the money for these teachers' salaries.
Have you grown to respect him a little more?
Oh, he's here right now. He's going to hear it all. Well, no, I didn't know much about Selby before I came over. I think you're a hard-working man, Selby. You're doing a good job, a good cause, and you can see the community absolutely loves you and adores you. So they all wave at Selby. So maybe I could be a Selby one day and have people wave at me. But I think that's when you know you're a success, when people wave to you and go their way to say hello. So I think you're doing a good job.
Well, for me, every group is pretty amazing. Everybody comes with the same idea of coming here and doing something positive. In particular with this group, you know, it's been fun to have so many different characters.
Let me show you around the Peru's Challenge quarters.
Somebody say show around Peru's Challenge Quarters. Well, my name's Lloyd and I'm from incarealestate.com.pe.
I'm Lawrence. Come inside. Tash is the next owner of this room. Tash?
Can you go now?
Oh,
I didn't see that.
Keep your eyes in your head.
Alright,
Did we come in at an awkward time?
I'm just gonna go back to sleep, guys. Brain isn't working.
This is the Peru's Challenge shirt, which we got today.
Is that it? Well, that was boring, wasn't it?
thinking back to when I first arrived here.
This is a serious
Sign off line.
Yeah.
Let's go.
Well, how does this?
Llamas out.
Oh, what's a good answer, right?
No. Really bad.
You suck, Chris.
Thanks.
Pinky and yeah.
That's funny, that's funny.
Sorry, guys. Sorry.
I was going to just have to get through.
I think the highlight was really construction and working along with Memo and Rafido and stuff. That was, yeah, and Giggles the goalkeeper. I guess just hanging out there, you know, it's like mateship or camaraderie, I guess you call it here. That's just pretty sick, yeah.
I think it's when you sit down when we have what we call a smoko, when Selby's not looking. A quick break.
Yeah, the breaks and budging, pretend to be, yeah, pretend to be tradies, but yeah, not really budging, but you know, everybody works really hard.
Got to take some photos in the finished classroom, which was amazing, and I think everyone's pretty proud of like their little contributions throughout the whole entire classroom, which is really good.
Yeah, this morning I woke up, as soon as I woke up I was like, oh no, and yeah, I think anything was going to set us off today. It was pretty hard.
Before we went to the fell, I thought I wasn't going to like get very emotional or anything, but like when the kids started hugging me, I actually did like try and hold back a few tears, but yeah, it was very special.
I was really surprised about how much they missed us, because when we told them it was their last day, they weren't aware of it, and they were quite sad.
It was sort of hard on the way home, and I was crying and feeling upset, and then I'd be, you know, smiling, feeling so happy because it was just so beautiful, and all the things that the people had to say to us was just very touching, and you know, all the flowers and the cards.
I absolutely loved teaching that class. And they, you know, they were a bit cheeky and sometimes used to joke with me that the bell was going and I hadn't heard it. They try and sneak off, but they stayed back like about an extra half hour, and yeah, that was pretty cool to also like, you know, realise that they like how much they appreciated what you were doing, and I really appreciate you know what they were doing, because to me that was learning to be a better teacher.
Before the ceremony, when some of the girls in my class, they came up to me and they said that they'd missed me, and I'd done a class earlier this week and we made bracelets and the girls are still wearing them today, so it was a really special moment for me.
One of them came up to me and she was like in Spanish, oh, when are you going to return? And I'm like, I don't know.
I was just so touched, and everything just seemed to come together, and this is what Peru's Challenge, the organisation, is all about. It's about the people.
I think I'd never experienced, I guess, a community quite like economically as challenged as what they're going through, but at the same time, like, it's just how positive they are.
They're so hopeful, aren't they?
Yeah, and I guess the best thing was about working at Punamarca and Kilawala was just, it's like the aim, what you're going for. Like you see what Punamaka already is, and you think, yeah, that's what you're giving. That's what you want to do.
Well, the thing is that it's very difficult sometimes, especially in Peru, to talk about things that's going to happen in the future. You know? Obviously, our best thing it will be to continue of doing what we're doing. Now, communities everywhere come to us to try to help the communities because they want the same kind of progress for the community, and that's something that we're going to try to achieve in the future, of course. You know? But for us, our future it will be to continue doing what we're doing because it's very simple, you know, and we have learned so much, and we know what way to take, and we know what things work and we think doesn't work. So with that experience, we will be able, hopefully, to continue.
Get a set of your eyes. Hey. Get it in those cheeks.
And having volunteers with important values in life for us are very important, especially to give a moment in their life to do something positive and share. That's the key of everything, I think. And for us, obviously, having that type of attitude for future volunteers is very important of what we do.
Yeah, we just actually had a team meeting and went through really special moments, and the thing that stands out the most to me was doing water treatments on a little boy, Fortunato. And when I first started doing it, you know, he was very hesitant to come to me, and he was always showing a lot of pain and things like that. And this last week especially, like, he runs up every day and hugs me and starts talking to me about his warts and helps me pack away and stuff. So just to see that friendship and that bond develop has been very, very special.
From the smallest child to the mother's centre in the community and the weaving and everything that they're doing there, it's all part of the big picture.
I just definitely won't take things for granted anymore, and try to just appreciate the beautiful things in life and the simple things.
If I do development again, I think I'll try and go for the next step, a bigger challenge.
There's always that reminder that you'd have in the back of your mind that there's always people out there that are worse off, and things can be done to help them.
All I would like to actually say is it needs to be much, much longer, because I feel like this is just so unfair. I feel like I lined up for, you know, an hour to get into, you know, some amazing playground, and I got in there and then my mum's like, oh, you have to leave now. I don't want to leave. I want to stay forever.
So I definitely feel this trip was about being open. It's incredible how open you get with people here. I think it's really, especially just like the social kind of outings, especially when you're so exhausted from work, it's just like, you can't be bothered to not be yourself.
The amazing thing about this program is that we're all from the same country, the same university, we all live near each other, so our family's just going to continue to grow when we get back to Australia. We're all going to, hang out. We've already got, you know, our Lord of the Rings night set up and everything, so we're a family for sure.
There was a moment in the restaurant when we all just started jamming to one of the songs, and that was a moment when it clicked. We all started to come together, and it's really great.
It's just such a special bond. It's not normally like how you make friends. You don't just sort of meet people and live with them and work with them and eat with them and everything. So it's been amazing. We're all just so tight.
It's been really good to see how well that we've all bonded together and how we've all got along really, really well.
I haven't seen anybody who's been kind of left out or been kind of shy and looking down. There's always kind of been someone there to pick them up. And so you realise that at any time that one kind of starts to sag or something, there's always that support network that's going to keep bringing up. So it's kind of impossible, I think, for us to ever not reach our goals because we're all working together. Such like an intricate type of system here. Yeah, it's just like we feel unbreakable. Yeah, I feel like we could go for like another year or so and we'd still be going sweet.